Welcome back to a brand new, been a while since I've done one of these best to worst list. In this video, I am looking at, from, in my opinion, weakest to strongest of my Nintendo Wii collection. Keep in mind, in total, I only have 16 games for the Nintendo Wii. So with that said, this is just my own personal perspective, and at least this will be a somewhat shorter video, as I only have 16 to rank. Now keep in mind, I'm not sure how other people's perspectives are when it comes to Wii and everything. So obviously, some people may disagree, hard to say. But in my opinion, the weakest game, at least that I personally have, or my least favorite, is one of the few games that I have not put a lot of time into, just because the gameplay and story and stuff just really didn't catch my attention for the most part. And that being Rayman Raving Rabbits, which was, of course, done before we would see a more popular crossover between the Rabbits and, of course, Mario, which is now getting a sequel. Before that, there was the crossover with Rayman, which Ubisoft owns both properties, so no surprise. But yeah, for me, it's the weakest game, in my opinion, in the games that I have for the Wii. But to each their own, as though, keep in mind, I also picked this game up for $2 when I got it, so. Next up, coming in at number 15, is Sonic and the Secret Rings, which was an interesting idea and take for the character of Sonic, as with this, though this would be technically one of two special story style games. You would have also one where it took place in medieval times, where you would have a knight and swords and everything, which was kind of crazy. And then you had this game, which you can still get relatively cheap, I'd say $10 or so. I don't think it's as bad as some people make this game out to be, personally, though it is still one of the weakest games, at least that I've played on the Wii. Still, I like the game nevertheless, and I enjoy it quite a bit, and I think more people should actually give this game a chance. I think it's interesting, taking elements from the Arabian Nights, combining it with Sonic, was a very interesting idea. Didn't completely execute well, but still, I think it turned out to be a pretty solid game for the most part. Next, coming in at 14, We Play. Arguably the cheapest game for me, as I picked this up perfect condition pretty much for $1. So, arguably very cheap. It's still dirt cheap. You can get this game very easily anywhere. And for the most part, I do like a lot of the games on it. I actually quite enjoy the pool game, as well as the ping pong. Has been always something I always, weirdly enough, enjoyed Pong. Have no clue why. But with that said, I think pool is one of the things that makes Wii Play worth getting and actually trying out of the mini games and stuff, as well as the hunting game or archery and stuff is also quite fun. But definitely, if you're looking for a good family-friendly collection of minigames stuff, I actually recommend checking out Wii Play. Now, just barely above it is a game technically I didn't even buy. It was included for free with the Wii when I got it. Sadly, I don't have the original case, but it came free with the game, so whatever. That being coming in at number 13, of course, Wii Sports Resort. I actually do not have Wii Sports. I know, shame on me, but yeah, it wasn't included, and I just haven't felt the need to go out and try and get a copy of Wii Sports. But Wii Sports Resort is a lot of fun. If you like games like Wave Racer and stuff, you'll probably really enjoy. Especially one or two of the mini games on Wii Sports Resort is arguably probably the best, at least that I've played, series or set of mini games for the Wii, and using Wii motion controls, though I'm not a big fan of. Still, the minigames in Sports Resort is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. Next, looking at number 12, or whatever, is a very unique fighting game done by Konami, of all companies, and it revolves around the world of Castlevania, as it's called Castlevania Judgment. A 3D arena style fighting game where you can move around freely, kind of like how you move around. Actually, reminds me a bit of games like sort of a cross of elements between like Devil May Cry and Power Stone. Very weird mixture, I know. And of course, you fight at the end, obviously, Dracula. You can play with Alucard and many other characters throughout the series. It's actually interesting, and I do recommend to anybody who's into like 3D style fighting games or arena style, check out this game. It's actually relatively very affordable, not that hard to find for the most part, but it is a very unique experience on the Wii, and it is exclusive to the Wii only. So that makes it I recommend check out if you get a chance. It's definitely an interesting experience. Coming in next at number 11. I know, not higher, even though this is a great collection of what is called the Orochi Saga. Of course, King of Fighters, because this includes 94, 95, 96, 97, and, or, my bad, actually, 94, 95, 96, 97, and 98. Good collection of games, but I don't think the emulation is the best, unfortunately, and that's why it does not make it higher than 11. There are, though, other games that I've enjoyed quite a bit more for the most part, but we'll get to that. But I'm curious to see what people's opinions and reactions are to my number 10 game, as I'm sure it's a very controversial opinion, but I'm fine with that. For me, coming in at number 10 is a game called Metroid Other M. Yes, I'm actually one of the very small minority of defenders for this game, as I think the gameplay actually is solid, really good. I get it from story elements and things. Doesn't go the greatest with the other throughout the series, obviously with Samus, but I still really like this game, and I think the gameplay is what sells it for me personally. It's a great action game with just enjoyable. I also really like the music for the most part in the game, and I expect nothing less with some of the people that were involved in this game. So, yeah. I don't know why the game gets as much hate as it does, but I think it deserves a little more love than it gets. Coming at number 9 was one of the games that I wanted to play the most on the Wii. And surprisingly, it's one of the few games I actually think is actually reasonably good with motion controls. One of the few games I don't mind playing using the motion control and stuff. And that being Epic Mickey, and the fact you get to see a very interesting character, or a rabbit character, which is, if you know the history of actually Walt Disney, there's quite a bit of history behind that character. And the fact he predates Mickey Mouse. Fun fact. But it's a very interesting platformer game, and I actually like the art style. The gameplay is a lot of fun, and honestly, I think more people should give Epic Mickey a chance, as well as Epic Mickey 2. Even though, in my opinion, the first game is better, I still think both games are underrated personally. And this is coming from somebody who is quite a big fan of platformers, besides fighting games. Next, at number 8. And that being the, of course, really more or less remake. I would consider more than a remaster, since they basically from the ground up did a huge amount of lift in the graphics and everything. But they managed to keep, for the most part, the core gameplay solid, which makes me happy and is why it's in my top 10 favorite Wii games. And that being, of course, though it's called Knight's Journey of Dreams rather than Nights into Dreams. Still, it's a great game, and if you haven't played the original on the Saturn, At the very least, pick up this on the Wii if you get a chance. It's still very cheap. You can find it under $10, no problem. And it's a really fun game if you're a platformer fan and you always kind of wonder or curious about the game on the Saturn. If you, given if you don't already have a Saturn and stuff, then just go with the Wii version. It's far easier to get a hold of and cheaper, to say the least. Next up, coming in at number 7 is the somewhat underrated and often overlooked Capcom crossover fighting game Tetsunoku vs. Capcom. Though arguably we'll probably never see a re-release or remaster of this game, unfortunately, as 50% of the rights is held and controlled by controlled by Toei, actually, which of course owns so many manga and anime copyrights and stuff. It's insane how powerful they are as a conglomerate in Japan, which is why we'll probably never see a remaster of this game, and that is unfortunate. As gameplay and everything, it's definitely very unique. Seeing characters from, definitely from that other side, from Tetsunoku. Not to mention, you get some very interesting Capcom characters as well, as Alex from Street Fighter 3 is in it, as well as Mega Man Legends version Mega Man, and a few other familiar characters, and also some other characters you don't usually see. And I actually find it quite interesting. But coming in at number 7, and more people need to try this game. Coming in at number 6, I don't know what most people's opinions are. Now, arguably, the only reason it makes it up this high is just because it is a Zelda game. And that is the only reason it makes it this high, as I was never the biggest fan of Skyward Sword, but I still appreciate the game for what it is, and I do probably recommend honestly picking up the Switch version, because I think it's better, with the more updated controls, if you will, but I would actually say probably motion controls with the Switch is a better choice than trying to go with normal standard controls on that version of the game. But if you get the chance, go ahead and check it out. But this is starting to get a little pricier, so frankly I'm not sure if it's worth the price range it's going for nowadays. But with that said, if you are so interested in, or you're a long-time Zelda fan, I say go ahead, give Skyward Sword a shot. Coming at number 5, arguably my least favorite of the 3 versions of the game that I have played, but still comes at number 5 because 1, it's Zelda, and 2, it's Twilight Princess, which the music in the background today I chose is from Twilight Princess. But for me, it is my number 5 favorite game for the Wii, even if it is, in my opinion, my least favorite version. I would probably put GameCube above, obviously above it, though in recent I finally got a chance and started trying out the HD version for the Wii U, and actually I think that may be the definitive version, in my personal opinion, along with Wind Waker as well on the Switch, or on the Wii U as well. But with that said, you get a chance, give Twilight Princess a shot. You can still get this game on the, however, on the Wii very cheap. You can find this game probably within $20. Not bad compared to what it's going for on GameCube, and it's starting to go up on the Wii U as well, so this is arguably the cheapest option. Now, if you have a Wii U, try to get your hands on the HD version. I don't really recommend paying the prices the GameCube version is going for the most part. So if you have the ability or option to get the Wii version, get the Wii version. Even if I'm not the biggest fan of the motion controls, it's still a great game overall, and still worth playing by far, as it is arguably my top 5 favorite Zelda games of all time. Coming at number 4 was one of the first 3 games I ever played on the Wii, along with actually the previous Twilight Princess was in fact the first game I ever played on the Wii. This would be the second ever game I play on the Wii. It comes in at number 4, and that being, of course, New Super Mario Brothers Wii, which I personally really like. I enjoy it even on single player, though it's obviously more designed for a local multiplayer. That's obvious. It was designed for like up to 4 people in mind, but I still think even by myself, still a pretty fun game. It's a solid Mario game, especially if you like the old style side-scrolling version Mario. This is probably one of the best, I would say personally, though I'm still kind of partial to the 3DS game as well. Now, coming in third place is an interesting game. As time has gone on, I've liked it more and more. I think it's probably the best game that I've played, at least implementing motion controls. In my opinion, it's the best game for motion controls. And that is, coming in at number 3, Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which is an interesting take on sort of redoing the original Silent Hill, which I actually appreciate, and I find it very unique and different. I hate that pretty much you have to run no matter what, which sucks, but still, it actually uses the motion controls very well. It is arguably, I think, the best game I've played on Wii, at least implementing motion controls by far, the number 1 best. But with that said, and I do highly recommend the game if you're a Silent Hill fan, but just keep in mind this game is going up. Even the Wii version, which is the cheapest version, is started going up in more recent time. So just know that if you're at all curious about the game. Second to last, if you're a big Metroid fan, this is definitely a must pick up. If you have a Wii U, pick up a digital copy of this game, as physically not so cheap nowadays, unfortunately. It's started going for quite a bit online, on eBay and everything. So just keep that in mind, but it's a great collection of 3 solid Metroid games that I think is a must-have for any Nintendo or, frankly, Metroid fan out there. Like I said, if you have a Wii U, pick up this game digitally. You can get for $19.99 on the Virtual Console. Definitely more than worth the $20 asking price by far. Physical price, not worth it, in my opinion, unless you're an absolute hardcore collector of Metroid, given it mostly has, I think, mostly to do with the Steelbook case, and that's the main reason. Coming at number 1, my personal favorite. Not only my personal favorite game in its series, it is by far my favorite game on the Wii. And this would be like the 3rd game I would pick up on the Wii. And that being Super Smash Bros. Brawl. As I said, in more recent time, Brawl has become, over time, my number 1 favorite Smash game of all time. I would say for a time there actually was 4 on the 3DS/Wii U. Specifically, getting to play it on the 3DS was a great experience. Still love playing it on the 3DS. But when it comes to single player content, Brawl is arguably the best game in the series, bar none. Nothing else even comes close. But keep in mind, to each their own. And that's really what it is at the end of the day. It's all about perception or your personal tastes on games. If you want more multiplayer stuff, I would say probably the Wii U version's maybe the best, or possibly Ultimate. Now, if you're more into the competitive scene, Melee is probably your favorite, which has quite a following. But for me, Brawl is my personal favorite, then probably 4 is my second favorite. But with that said, I'll see y'all next time. Stay safe, same time, same channel. Tell me of the Wii games I have, what are your personal opinions on some of them that I talked about, and on my ranking. Also, give me some suggestions of maybe some regular Wii games I should actually check out. But with that said, I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel.